want to welcome everybody to the first Friday. This is April. And the Latin word April means open, transformation, week. So welcome. Do we have any birthday people today? Who have a birthday in the month of April? Got one over here? Anybody else? Let's give them a happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. See, we here to have fun today. We're going to have a fun over our hands. Now we're going to, this is a special First Friday because of some of the things that we're going through as a country, as a community. Matter of fact, by the way, anybody who don't know who I am, I'm Robert Gatewood. I have a radio show called The Mark and Pulpit. As a matter of fact, I'm on the air this morning talking about downturns. Downturns. We're experiencing some things right now, but we are not going to be turned down, or we're not going to turn it down. We're going to turn it up. Some people may have to go out here and find jobs who haven't been in the marketplace for a while. Some are going to make new connections. Some are going to start businesses. As a matter of fact, it reminds me of a guy. He went out to find a job. He was having a hard time. And so he went to the next interview, and the person who was interviewing would say, if you get to that point in the interview, would say, what's your weakness? And so the guy said, well, my weakness is that I'm too honest. So the guy who was interviewing said, wait a minute. I don't think that honesty is a weakness. So what you said, I don't give a damn what you think. I don't think you got the job. Now, what I did talk about today on my show, we talked about some of the things you have to do during these uncertain times. And I'm not going to give you my whole speech that I did today, we'll give you tomorrow this time. But I will take one part and talk about one antidote is to think positive and hang around positive people. Network, collaborate. And so it's fitting, the stars just happened to line up today, that this first Friday fell on a day that the stock market, we've seen numbers we haven't seen in years. We've seen government layoffs that we haven't seen, some are unprecedented. So this is a good time for you to build and nurture your network. You were sent here today for a reason. Anybody here for the first time? Whoa! Anybody here, any of my students here? Oh, all right. Just by the way, I teach a course at Prince George Community College, so I'm a professor. And we had a course called networking a few weeks ago. And I told these students, if you want to see how networking works, how you can collaborate and partner with positive, energetic, knowledgeable people, come out to the BLE networking event that's sponsored by BLE Executive Suites and this amazing lady over here, Miss Bernadette. Let's get on there. We're going to give her an opportunity to speak to you later on. And like I said, besides my being a radio host, I'm a student, I'm a professor at Prince George Community College. Really, I'm a student, right? So anyway, today, let this be the beginning. Do not leave here worrying about the stock market. Don't leave here worrying about whether or not you're going to be laid off by the government. Leave here today knowing that you made some connections, that you have a place right now, a resource. We're not here today for the money. I'm telling you, nobody's going to close the doors and shake you down today. We are here today to give you, I'm sorry. We are here today to offer resources to make connections. There is no expectation of any of you except to take the information that we give you and go out here and do something positive. Another reason that makes it very remarkable is because we bring somebody to you who's an amazing resource. Somebody who's can make life-changing decisions. And by the way, we're also going to give everybody a chance to introduce yourself later on. I'm just amazed, I'm tickled pink. That's hard to say, right? I'm tickled pink by the number of people I have seen here for the first time. Don't let it be your last time. I'd like to see you come back next month, the month after that, and bring somebody with you. But today is a special day because we have a special guest. Larry G. Webb, the District Director of the SBA Washington Metropolitan Area District Office. That's big time, folks. Just saying. Now, Larry Webb, he holds a Juris Doctorate degree from Case Western Reserve University Law School and a Bachelor of Arts degree in History and Political Science from Stockton College in Canton, Missouri. All working home. Prior to joining the SBA, Mr. Webb served as the Assistant Director of Law for the City of Cleveland in Ohio. During his tenure, he helped the Office of Equal Opportunity to streamline and bolster its enforcement procedures. Brother Heavy. Currently, Mr. Webb serves as the District Director for the Washington Metropolitan Area Office of the United States Small Business Administration. He leads a team that supports small businesses throughout the District of Columbia, Northern Virginia, and Southern Maryland. Without further ado, let's give a rounding hand of applause to Mr. Larry G. Webb, Attorney at Law. Thank you very much.
First of all, can you hear me without the mic? Do I need the mic? Okay, because that's just something else to hold. And I just want to know any barriers between you and me. First of all, it's my pleasure to be here today. As my resume says, or the introduction says, I actually came to the Washington metropolitan area as an attorney for the SBA, and I did that for 10 years before switching over to this role. And in that role, I supported the agency in a variety of ways, related to employment. I was a senior advisor to the general counsel. I ended up doing work with our marketing and outreach office, press, social media, and what have you, which sort of led me into the role that I have now. I was very happy in that role because I didn't supervise anybody. And for those of you all who understand, I did not, so I'm not saying that out of rudeness. I didn't know what GS anything was before I got to the federal government. I was a GS 1590 supervisor. So it was a very happy place. It was a very happy place. However, then COVID happened, and I was asked to apply for this position as district director because my predecessor, Antonio Goff, who some of you may know or have run into over the years, was switching positions. And even though I was very happy in my position, not supervising anybody, and quite frankly, now I have a lot of work to do. Because what I did was a lot of outreach and programs, and during COVID, there was only one program. You know, get money out the door. We're now dealing with the consequences of some of that, both in treasure and fraud. But that was the only thing to do. So I was even happy because I was at home. I didn't have a lot to do, and I was still collecting checks. But when this opportunity came, I took this position because the one thing that was very clear to me as I was sitting home watching the world burn is that it was burning a lot more for some communities than it was for others. That fire, that spark over here might be a raging fire over there. Lots of people were not connected to resources that other people took for granted. Lots of people didn't trust institutions, rightfully so, in many instances, but they didn't trust them, and those institutions were the very things they needed in order to survive this whirlwind. And so that's why I took the position. And I say that not for my own aggrandizement. I say that so you know where I'm coming from before I start talking about any of this other stuff, any of these other government programs and what have you. And I need you to understand where I'm coming from. And I need you to sort of understand my heart. I'm here for you. It's the only reason I'm here. It is to be of assistance, to be of service, and to make sure that when I leave here, you were connected to even more resources than you were when you walked into the door. So that's the preamble. That's sort of the level set. So before I get started in sort of any more formal stuff, we had a presentation. It's not cooperating. I know it by heart. So we're just gonna roll with it. How many people, I know everybody, well, I don't actually know that. How many people actually are in BLE Suites? Everybody? How many people are not in BLE Suites? Okay, so we have visitors. Are people that are not in BLE Suites that happen to also be in a hub zone? Anybody in a hub zone that are not in BLE Suites?
What's the hub zone?
Exactly. Exactly. It's a perfect question. I'm gonna talk about that and other things during my presentation. Those that are in BLE Suites know that you're in the hub zone. I assume that might be one of the reasons that you're in BLE Suites, to take advantage of that resource. But for others, you may not know what it is, and that's why I'm here today, to talk about that and other things. So, top level. I am the district director for what is called the Washington Metropolitan Area District Office. As was mentioned in the introduction, that's basically the DMV. DC, Prince George's, Montgomery County, and the northern Virginia suburbs out to Loudoun, Alexandria, Fairfax, etc. We have offices, if you happen to be far flung, I don't know where everybody's from. We also have offices, a district office in Baltimore that covers the rest of Maryland, and we have one in Richmond that covers the rest of Virginia. Beyond that, we actually have district offices in every state in the country, covering the Virgin Islands, Guam, from Hawaii to Alaska, Florida. So if you have friends, and I say this because people don't live in a vacuum, right? And I need you to be the emissaries on how to get information out to all the people that you know that can utilize this information. This isn't one of those things where you get it and you're like, oh, it's mine. I don't want anybody else to know it, because no, this is an opportunity to help communities, all communities, right? So your sisters and cousins and your frenemies, share the information, share the wealth. So we're in every state, big states, Texas, California, Ohio, New York, we have multiple offices. Florida, we have multiple offices. Smaller states, not by size, by population, we only have one office. So Iowa, there's one office. Kentucky, there's one office. North Carolina, there's one office, although they sometimes have satellite offices. I say that so you know everything I'm about to tell you about the SBA and all of these resources exist in all of those places. So if you move, if you know someone there, please share the information. We have 10 regions. That's less important, but we do have 10 regions. I happen to be located in Region 3, which is the Mid-Atlantic region. So that covers Delaware, Pennsylvania, Maryland, West Virginia, and DC. This is the Mid-Atlantic region. You already know that, I'm sure, because most of you have been here, and I am a transplant from the Midwest. So that's sort of the lay of the land. What does the SBA do? The SBA is the only federal agency that is responsible for helping small businesses, period. How do we help small businesses? We help small businesses through a variety of mechanisms, but there are three major sort of base ways in which we do that. One is access to capital, which is the first thing anybody ever wants to talk to me about. Where's the money? Where's the money? Housing loan, where's the money? The second one is government contracting, which the hub zone is somewhat connected to for the person who's asking me about that. I'm going to go into that a little bit more. And the third one is counseling and mentoring. I believe that the counseling and mentoring is actually the most important thing that we do. And I believe it's the most important thing that we do, is so that you can get yourself prepared for that government contract if you don't know anything about government contracting. And it isn't a world all on its own. There are terms that you may not understand. There's a language, there's a rhythm, there's a flow to government contracting. And it is not something that you should wake up knowing how to do. Like, so many of the things that you already do in your life. How you run your business. You didn't know how to run your business when you were 18. You didn't come off the womb knowing how to do that, or high school. You gained knowledge over time through perseverance and skill, resilience, etc. Government contracting is the same. It is a process. And I believe unless you come from the government contracting world, some of you might, unless you parents or the father or the mom did that, then you won't know how that works. And this is the way that you do that. And we provide that free of charge to you, your tax dollars at work. The other reason I think it's the most important thing is that people don't always understand lending. You know you need money. You know that you need money to buy a piece of equipment, to hire a staff, to perform some function. But do you understand the language of lending? Do you understand that just because the bank that you've been with for 20 years says no, doesn't mean that you can't get any money for your business? This means that they said no. You don't know if that bank even likes your business. Because banks have appetites, like humans have appetites. They have appetites for different types of business. Some like restaurants, some don't. Some like construction, some don't. Some will take a risk on a startup, others are not so interested. And so knowing that gives you more information about the information that you get. So if you go across the street to the bank that's the closest to you and you give them your spiel, and they go, not so interested, many people will turn tail, right? Because they don't know. They also may not know, and I'm not, if you know, please, this is not an insult to anybody in the room. They may not know the language of banking. You may go into a bank wanting to discuss your passion, your needs, your desires. But the bank wants to know when you're gonna pay them back, how quickly you're gonna pay them back, and if you have the history to even be able to have a conversation with them about paying them back. And so if you go in talking about the wrong stuff, you've already lost, you're already behind the 8 ball. And so those are the types of things that that free counseling and mentoring can do for you. You know, time is money. And everybody sort of agrees in the world that we live in, this capitalist country that we live in, the time is money, then you don't want to waste any time. You don't want to waste any time recreating the wheel that's already there. That someone has already put a chassis on, that someone has already put an engine in. All you need to do is go over there and try to figure out how you can get it to work. You need stuff. And that's what that counseling and mentoring does. So, that being said, I'm gonna go back and talk about capital, and I'm gonna talk about contracting, and then I'm gonna talk about counseling and mentoring, how you get connected to those things. Capital. The first thing you should also know about access to capital through the SBA is the SBA does not lend money. Most people think, you go to the SBA and I'm using the SBA loan. The SBA does not lend money. So what the SBA does do, and there is an exception to that, but I'll talk about that. It doesn't apply to starting your business. What the SBA does do is that it incentivizes lenders to lend money to you. How does it do that? There's some complicated words, talk about loan guarantees and this, that, and the other. Basically, the SBA co-signs for you. It says to a lender, I know you met with this business, they've been in business for 3 years, haven't really made a lot of money, have some customers, maybe they're making money, but not to your risk tolerance. So if you will give them a loan, we will guarantee that loan for 75%. That's a win-win for the bank, right? So they may still say no if you really don't meet the standard. But that's a win for them. They are guaranteed 75% of that loan. So if they give you $100,000, they're gonna get $75,000 back. Typically, if you have any sort of business weight, you're not gonna go under immediately, right? So you're gonna make some payments. So they're guaranteed $75,000 plus whatever you pay back until such time as you hit some difficulty. Maybe through no fault of your own, right? Company goes, one of your clients goes under, federal government decides they don't want to have that contract anymore, that may obviously affect your business. So I'm not saying you're bad business people due to some other fault, but they're guaranteed that 75% plus whatever you pay back. That incentivizes the lender in a bank to do that. That's one of the ways in which we get money on the streets. And depending on the type of loan it is, that's 75%, maybe 90%. So if it's international, which a lot of people don't think about, or feel afraid to explore, Remember, most of the customers in the world don't reside in the United States. So if you actually have an innovation that is exportable, that is a whole other market for you to think about getting into. And because we want to incentivize people to do that, those loan guarantees are even higher. Like I said, they're 90% to think about. So that's one way in which we incentivize loans. The other thing that we do are called microloans. Now those are not through traditional lenders. They're typically through nonprofits, who are typically community-based nonprofits. These are organizations who are dedicated to the advancement, the expansion of business and culture in a community, right? And so they are dedicated to that, and they invest in that in a variety of ways. And one of the ways they do that is they become what are called microloan intermediaries. We give them $3 million, let's say, and they use that $3 million to provide small loans up to $50,000 to small businesses. Once again, it's not free money, it's still a loan, but you're dealing with an organization that, one, is interested in you being successful, and is less interested, they're not uninterested in getting their money back. They have to get their money back, otherwise they won't have that $3 million to lend to the next person. But they're less interested in profit. You know, they're less interested in making money for their investors. Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry that if I'm asking a stupid question, but.
No, no prefaces.
No
What's your
preface.
question?
My question is, what kind of nonprofit organization would do such?
Funny that you ask. Yes, ma'am.
I work for one.
Thank you. You got testimony in the room. I love that. I don't have to work as hard. Yes.
Life asset.
Life Asset is actually, yes, is absolutely one. And Life Asset, I know, is even more invested than in a particular type of lending than others. A lot of others might do 5,000, may do 10,000, what have you. Life Asset, I love this. Why don't you tell
Well, I'm not with them anymore, but basically, their requirements are based on the model in India, where they would loan money to women to buy a cow, so they could produce milk and they could sell to feed their family. So the loans, they're also programs are also designed to help people build their credit. That's the focus of their program. They want to, so where you have to, now it's changed over time, but initially it didn't matter what your credit score was. Your loan was not based on that. It was based on forming a group of 5 people or more, 5 people or less, and you supported each other. And so it's more of a community building program.
Thank you. And that group model is not something that every lender is going to do, but to piggyback or to expand on that. So if you went to Life Asset, these are $500 or $1,000 loans initially, and then they work up, right? So they are literally, it's almost back in the day when I was young and not so great with money. You had the credit cards you had to put cash on, like you basically, it wasn't credit. It's your money, right? It's basically, it's that kind of concept. You're starting small, and they're building capacity with this group. But I love the concept that you come in with a group, right? So you come in with 3 or 4 or 5 people. You all are working together. And if one of them drops, it's your responsibility to pick that person up, to make sure that if they're not paying back their loan, if they're not coming to some designated meetings or whatever, so the community is working, supporting each other. And once again, they're doing really small loans, but let's be clear, they do more loans and they're paid back at a higher rate than any other microloan lenders that we have. The percentage of people that are paying back their loans is really high because of that. And if you get past the 500, you get to the 1,000, then you get to the 5,000, you get to the 10,000. Every program is not like that. Believe WAKIP also does microloans, Washington area community investment fund. I believe that, FSC does them as well, but I might be mistaken. But these are the types of organizations, these community-based lenders that, LEDC, Latin Economic Development Corporation, also does microloans. And if they don't do microloans, they do lending in the community. The reason I have been using, I've sort of made a couple mistakes in using the word bank, because banks obviously lend. But I try to use the term lending because all lenders aren't banks. And it's those non-bank lenders, no ATMs, no tellers, that a lot of people don't know about. They are not familiar with, and that's why I'm here. And that's why these community partners that I'm gonna talk to you about are here, to allow you to understand the breadth of your opportunity, so that then you can make the best choices about what is good for you, who can help you. And the other thing about a life asset or a RAPIP or an LEDC, Latin Economic Development Corporation, or FSC First, and others, because they're not the only ones, is that typically if you're dealing with a non-bank lender that has a community focus, if you're not ready for lending, they have programs to help you get ready for lending, right? To help you get prepared. So many business owners and human beings alike, we're afraid to show our soft underbelly, right? We're afraid to talk about our debt problems. We're afraid to talk about issues that we may have had in our business in the past. We're afraid to talk about the bankruptcy. We're afraid to talk about our credit score. Closed mouths don't get fed, y'all. And so you being quiet and hiding and waiting for everything to be perfect is not a business model. It's just not a business model. It is a way to keep your secrets. It is a way to be prideful. It is a way to potentially keep yourself from embarrassment. But it is not a business model. You gotta be open, and you don't have to be open with everybody, but you absolutely gotta be open with the lender, right? Because that's the only way that relationship is going to work. And so, I implore you not, once again, to stand here and tell everybody what your credit score is, because it's not necessary, but to get in the habit of figuring out where you wanna go, get in the habit of talking to counselors and mentors and finding those mentors and counselors, and then following the advice if it makes sense to you. You can check it, trust but verify. But that's the way this works well. And I've heard too many times in my own experience where people, I gotta wait till it's perfect. Nothing's ever perfect. Nothing's ever perfect. There's always gonna be something. And so, get out of your way. And I say that with respect, but get out of your way. Yes, ma'am.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
You did mention earlier, someone asked a question about the hub zone, so I just wanted to refresh your memory.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna get you.
Yeah.
I'm getting you, I absolutely am getting you. So that's the way in which we help individuals with lending. And all of those institutions, particularly those community-based lenders, will help you if you're not ready. They will help you understand the language of lending, understand what your debt ratio is, understand what a lender may be looking for so that you understand what they're talking about, and help prepare you both in your accounting, your paperwork. You need to be able to sit down with someone and explain your business in money. Not have your bookkeeper show up and do it, not have your accountant do it. Because this is a trust relationship. And let me be very clear, banks and lenders, even those community-based lenders, are risk averse. And what does that mean? They don't want to do anything that's going to be risky. And so part of the thing that you have to do is not just be a very good computer scientist or a good accountant. You need to be a good salesperson as well. And the major thing that you're selling in your business is not just the customers, you're also selling it to lenders. You're also selling it to real estate folks. They gotta trust that you can pay the rent, right? You're also selling it to employees. They gotta trust that they're gonna get paid. So at all times, the thing that you are presenting is your business, and it's being judged all the time, which is why people don't want to say things, right? Because no one wants. So it's a line that you have to walk. So that's lending. Any questions about sort of how SBA does lending? We do lots of other types of things. I just don't want to belabor it because there's time and opportunity for that to happen. Any questions about lending and how SBA supports? Great. The second thing that we do, major thing that we do, and actually do in a larger degree, is provide government contracts and support small businesses in the government contracting field. The SBA has 4 main certification programs. But before I talk about those certification programs, one of which is HubZone, just so we're getting there, is that first of all, you don't need to be a certified business in order to get a contract in the government. You don't have to be a certified business to get a contract with the government. You absolutely don't have to be a small business to get a contract with the government. Sometimes it's easier if you're not a small business to get a contract with the government. No, that is your designation. When I mean certified, I mean certified as a women-owned small business, certified as a veteran-owned small business, certified as a HubZone, or certified as an 8A small business. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. Was it 4? Yes. 8A, I'm going to go over them again. 8A, I'm going to tell you what they are and how they work as well. But just for the note takers in the room, 8A, veteran-owned small businesses, it's actually service disabled veteran-owned small businesses. HubZone, and women-owned are the 4 that we certify. There are other certifications in the federal government. Other agencies have certifications that you can make yourself available to. And since we're talking about certification, please also know that Prince George's County has certification. Montgomery County has certification. DC has certification. Maryland has certification. Virginia has certification. So there's certifications all over, and they don't all look the same. Some may have a minority business certification. Some may, and women are included in that, and that's included in that. And so that's something to be doing as well, right? Yes, sir.
So, my mentor told me about this business.
Mm-hmm.
And you said again, is it, if we have a wife, is it preferable that we restructure it as CEO and owner?
So, let me come back to that question. I'm gonna let that one sit there in the room. Because you know the answer to that question. No, actually, I'm gonna ask you a question that you asked. So, remember before when they said that I worked for the city of Cleveland and I helped bolster their enforcement processes? The very thing that I did is we sued our largest prime contractor in Cleveland. They did the airport, they did Nations Lake Road, so this is a major concrete construction company. And what they did quite often is they created front companies. So they would say, we have this company doing this work for us, this woman-owned small business, black-owned small business, whatever. Those people were doing no work. They did not, sometimes they were front companies in hallways, like they didn't actually exist, but a lot of times they were front companies. And they would just do the work themselves and pay them a little bit on the side. Sometimes you would have a situation where, and this happens a lot in the federal government, and there's Google it, you'll find lots of people that have been in prison for, the man has run a construction company for 30 years. His wife has been an at-home wife, or let's say she's a doctor. Let's not leave her at home. She's a doctor. She knows nothing about construction. She couldn't hit a nail, but the company is in her name. She never shows up to the company. She never shows up to the sites. She has no connection whatsoever with this. And all you have to do is do a little sort of paperwork to realize she's getting paid from her doctor over here. She's doing surgery while, and she was never at the place. That's what you want to avoid. Now, if you actually are partners in a business, and you actually do have she's actually working 51%, at least 51% of the business, it's a great idea. It may allow you to have more access to certain certifications. So, assuming that your wife is a minority, I don't know that she is, but assuming that she's a minority member of our community and she's a woman, let's say she's a vet, then you got 3 bites at the apple. And then you're in the hub zone, great, fantastic. You got the whatever the quadrant is. Yes, but don't try. Don't try it. Let me just put it that way. Total aside, but I would be remiss if I did not say 2 things. I can go back to lending for just a second. One, if you do have a lender, and you are trying to grow your business, you should have your lender, not the 800 number, on speed dial. You need to be able to call Sarah, or Monique, or Ted, or Leroy, or whoever it is, and say, we just got a contract, we need an increase in our spending level. Can you work on that? You need to call an 800 number for something. So if you call an 800 number, you've already lost. Because you're probably doing it at the end of the dollar, right? And time, once again, is money. And so, avoid that. And there was something else, but it will come back to me, because I don't have my slides. So I'm just rolling right now. So we talked about the 4 types of government contracting. We had a great question that led us into front companies and the like, and what you need to do in order to make sure that you are on the up and up. Contracting is hard. Contracting is a hard slug. It is a hard slug for a variety of reasons. One, just like lenders, government contractors, government contracting officers, and agencies are risk averse. So it's much easier to go with a company that's had this contract for 10 years than it is to try to get somebody else. Because even if I don't like everything about them, I know that I've worked with them. So it's hard to get in the gate, to be seen. This is a very government contract heavy space in the DMV, right? All the agencies are here, at least to some degree, right? All of you got a foothold here. A lot of decisions are being made here. And you are competing, maybe in this room. What I would say is 2 things around government contracting. We're gonna talk about the certification, but if you're thinking about it, or if you're not already doing it, I hope that these are helpful tools. And then I'm also gonna tell you to go talk to experts that know way more than I do about this and can be even more helpful. One is understand that you have to have frenemies in government contracts. Just because someone's doing the same thing as you does not make them your enemy. It makes them your competitor, but that's actually good to know. You want to know who your competitors are. Because one of the rules in government contracts, who knows what I'm about to say? Rule of 2. But it rules 2, but if you can find 2 or 3, because actually different places have different certifications. Part of your job is going to be to tell the contractor that there are 3 of us or 2 of us that can do this job. You try to get it out to 2, I think that's not gonna work. There are 3 other businesses that can do this job. So that it comes into the small arena. You want as many contracts in that small arena as possible so that you have more things to compete for, right? We have whole offices in the SBA that go to agencies and say, that $100 million contract, that's bundled, a term that you may hear, can be unbundled. So that some small businesses can do part of that. You don't have to give that to Largo. You don't have to give that to a large contractor and then have it all subcontracted down. You can actually let some small businesses prime on that. So that's that sort of the energy of collaboration. It also means by knowing who your frenemies are, is that you can go on things team. Now you gotta sniff people out. You gotta make sure you have the same sort of values around business. So let me not forget that. You gotta, but maybe small jobs, small things here and there until you get to a point where you say we can do something, or you watch them. How do they move with other people? Until you find someone that you can do that type of work with. But that's an opportunity for you also to leverage both businesses' skills. Maybe there's something you're not great at, they're great at, maybe there's something that you're great at, they're not, and you can team and partner. That's kind of calculus level, starting a business, but that's where you want to go. Those are strategies on how to get to a bigger place in government contracting. So let's talk about certifications, because it's been long and I've been holding this back for a long time. So the certifications, we have the 4 certifications in the SBA. I'm going to talk about them in this order, and I'm going to end with 8A for a very specific reason that you'll understand when I get here. So let's start off with HubZone. HubZone is a certification program that is what is called a place-based certification. So unlike women-owned or veteran-owned, which have to do with the identity of the individual who owns at least 51% of the business, a place-based certification is based on where the business is located and who you're hiring in the business, right? So, I'll give you an example. This building, BLE, the basic premise, I believe one of the premises of the organization is that it's in a hub zone. So if you rent a suite in this building, you're automatically in the hub zone. Go ahead. Okay, sorry, College Park location is in the hub zone. And good clarification. So if you rent a suite in the BLE Suites, now you're in a hub zone. You then have to hire up to 35% of the people, of your employees need to be in that hub zone as well. Because once again, it's place-based. And the rationale behind it is not only are you placing a business in a hub zone, but you're hiring people in the hub zone, right? Because hub zones are historically underutilized something zones, business zones. We have so many acronyms in the federal government. Historically underutilized, underserved communities, basically, right? And the goal of this program is to get more businesses to locate themselves in the hub zone, and then of course hire people locally. Because otherwise, you can put your business in a hub zone, hire people completely unrelated to that community, take advantage of the certification and the benefits of that, and really move no needles but your own, right? And that's not the purpose behind it. And so that is what a hub zone is. That is how they function. They did make some changes. I don't know how recently it is, but they initially you could only have people up 35% that lived in that community, but then there's no upward mobility, right? Like a person can never leave. I don't even call it the hood, I call it the underserved community, right? Because some hoods are not underserved. So there were changes saying that you could grandfather folks in, right? So if somebody works for you for some number of years, they become a manager, they become a C-suite person in your business, they don't have to still live maybe in that community, but they still are grandfathered in, right? And so that was just, someone finally figured out, oh, wait a minute, we are penalizing the employees by making them stay necessarily in a place where maybe they want to go to a better school, they want to get a house, they want some grass, whatever the case may be. And so that is, one of the changes. So that's a hub zone. We can talk about it more, or I'm gonna talk to you about counseling mentoring, and you can get more information about that, but that's the basic premise. Women-owned small business, I think, likely sort of makes sense for itself. That is a certified business, the woman owns 50% of the business, at least. They own the whole business, she doesn't have to have partners or whatever, but she has a business, a majority. And, if in fact you get your business certified, as that, you get the benefits of that certification. I want to talk about the benefits of certification after I talk about all of the different programs, because they're very similar. But they're benefits. And the benefits are, you get closer, you get less competition for contracts, basically. And you're not fighting against big companies, but you're also only competing, I won't say fight, you're only competing against other women-owned small businesses if that's the choice of the contracting officer. You're only competing against hub zones if that's the choice of the government contractor. In some instances, that means they can also just pick you as a sole source. You have a good innovation, we'll go right to you, this is your contract, let's go. That's the benefit of certification. I said I was gonna do it later, but I didn't. That's the benefit that's one of the benefits of certification. Veteran, same. Services include. Yes.
I'm a woman owned. In my case, my daughter, my wife, are owning a business. Is dying, need 1% down, or one as
It's actually a very good question. I don't know the answer to that question. I know there is an answer, but I actually don't know the answer to the question off the top of my head. Anybody in the room have a question? Yes.
Okay. So in my business, my wife and daughter ownership in my business. So is there ownership equals 51%?
So basically,
Or one?
I don't know to answer the question, and I don't know if it's happening. So we'll card, and I would never not know the answer to that question again. Basic as hell. But interesting. And the lawyer in me wants to pontificate, but I'm not going to.
Because is it women or women?
Right. Yeah.
So what was the question?
I'll do it. Yeah. I'll do it.
Sure.
Yeah.
So if my daughter and wife are partnership, are owning a business. Be a woman owned business, 51%. That when they're combined, if one is 25,
Thank you.
one is 26, that's. Does that make you eligible?
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, the jury, right. I just saw something, but it was for a different program. It says individual over there, but we don't know, and once again, we're not gonna guess. There's an answer. And it's a very good question, yeah. But that's the thing, right? You need to think about these things, you need to actually sort of work it out. Veteran owned is the very, service disabled veteran owned business, similar, right? If you qualify, this means you're service disabled by any number, 10%, 30%, full, disabled, then you will qualify for that certification. The last one is.
I'm sorry, are you saying that you have to be disabled to get the veteran?
There are veteran set asides, but we have a service disabled veteran small business certification.
Which is different from just the veteran owned
Just been
business?
vetted, yes.
Oh.
Yes. 8A. So 8A is the last one, and it is a certification program. It is what I do and my office does mostly, quite frankly, because DC and the surrounding area, the DMV, has the most 8A firms in the country. You have like 1,000 8A firms, and I don't have the staff to actually adequately support that, but that's government work. You do what you do and you do what you can. That being said, the 8A program is different than the other programs in this very specific way. If you are a woman-owned small business, as long as you are a woman-owned small business and you meet all the other qualifications, there are other qualifications, let's be clear, you just financials and some other things, just like with the veteran service safety with that and HUBZone. There are other qualifications, those are the major ones. But once you're in and you remain in that category and eligible, you're just in. You get to ride that whale, that horse, that whatever, until until you sell the business, you merge, you acquire, whatever, right? And you're no longer eligible. So, 8A is different, and I'll tell you how it's different in 1 second. Yes, sir.
Can I answer this question real quick? As long as your wife and daughter are doing day-to-day operations, you good.
You know they are. I know. Trust but verify. I'm not saying it's wrong, I'm just saying. No. 8A is different. 8A is what's called a business development program, which means that the goal of the program is help businesses, small, economically and socially disadvantaged, is one of the qualifications, businesses, not start, because you need to be 2 years in to even qualify, but gain traction, gain experience as a government contractor, and then be supported in that process. And what do you get for that? Well, an 8A, once again, can get sole source contracts. So that means if you go to an agency and you have something that they want, they don't even have to compete. They can go, yes, you can have this contract. You have limited competition because you likely will, well, not always. You're not all, even if you're in the government contractor space, your certification may not always be the thing that the contracting officer is looking at. But if they are, you're only competing against other 8As. Sometimes they put out contracts that are only available for 8As. So if you work in the DOD space or you work in classified, that obviously competition gets smaller and smaller and smaller because the pool of people that are eligible gets smaller. Then you add on top of that you're only dealing with 8As and you're only talking about maybe, I won't say a handful, but a much less robust, much less full competition pool. 8A also allows you initially to load up on as many contracts as you get. Mind you, it's still hard to get contracts. 8A is not going to be a panacea. The contracts are not going to fall from heaven. But if you're good, and if you're connected, we're going to talk about connection. If you're good and you're connected, you can, and people do. Some people get no contracts because they don't always have the tools, or they don't lean in, or they don't take advantage of other things, or they just think that's too hard. But some people really get it. They really get it. And they go from 0 to 20 million in a number of years because they get the process. They have the tools. Sometimes they're just lucky. So that's 8A. It's a 9-year program. When you start, you can get as many government contracts as you can handle. By the time you get to about 5 years, you got to do some segues. How much time do I have? Because I can wrap this up. How many?
12:38.
I don't know when we're supposed to stop. 2 hours. Okay. When you get toward the 5-6 year period, you're supposed to start 4 or 5, 6. You're supposed to start diversifying. That means that you want to get, and it doesn't have to be non-government contractor, but it can be 8A contractor. Because a part of it is to, that's different than what you just said. But I can do it in 5. 8A, thank you, right, 8A, right? It's you transition and you have to start diversifying. Just like you diversify your stocks or your bonds, you don't put all your eggs in one basket, whatever analogy you want to use, you start diversifying so that the goal is that the company exists after the 8A program. Because if you just get 8A contracts for 9 years and you never get any contracts outside of the 8A program, you're not gonna survive, because you don't know how to. You haven't started doing, full and open competition. You haven't started looking at state and local contracts. You haven't looked at, the private sector to see if the private sector will buy your thing. And so as soon as that last contract ends, and some people do that. Some people run the table, you know, and at the end, call it falling off the cliff. And you know, someone else comes in and is a partner with the firms and what have you. So that's the ADA program. All of, we are having, this is a small commercial. On May 22nd at Busboys and Toys on Monroe Street, which is up near Catholic University, we're gonna have a program. Everybody in the room, hopefully, if you don't already, should follow me on LinkedIn. If you're not connected with the SBA office here, the WMATA office, go to DC Info. You can go to our site, sba.gov/DC, and get on our newsletter, because the information is going to be going out. It's a limit on the seats, it's like 80 to 100 seats. But we're actually going to have a program on when should you become an 8A. Because just because you can become an 8A doesn't mean that you should become an 8A. And then in 1 minute, and then I'm going to talk about counseling, which is the most important thing. After this, if you have to be in business for 2 years, there's some economic things, because it's economically disadvantaged and socially disadvantaged. There's some things that you have to do in order to be certified on any of these programs. And I can't get into all of them today. The thing I would say to you about 8A is all about timing. You're not going to become an 8A if you don't know anything about government contracting. If you never subbed, if you don't know what any of the terms mean, you don't know what a forecast is. You don't even know if the government buys what you're selling. And if you do know that the government buys what you're selling, do you know which agency in the government buys what you're selling? Do you know how much of it they buy? Do you know who used to have the contract? Do you know when they are going to let another contract? Do you know who the contracting officer is of that agency? And do you know who, if there are other firms that they use 8As, or do they use women most often? Or do they use vets most often? All of that information, if you don't know that, you're too early. And that's just off the top of my head and basic information. There's so much more information that you should know about government contracting before you become an 8A. Now, if you become a women-owned small business, because there's a time. You can become a service-disabled vet if you are a service-disabled vet, obviously, because there's no time. You can house yourself in a hub zone, because there's no time limit. But 8A is all about time. And so many businesses get to that 2 year, and they, once again, think contracts are gonna come, all I do is sign up, and they are learning as you go. You wanna learn beforehand. So if you're actually interested in 8A at all, one of the places, and this is my segue into the resources, for the few minutes I have left, but all of that stuff is on all of the information that I put at the table. So I cover my bases here. Apex accelerators are not actually an SBA program, they're through the DoD, but they are sort of a premier, first level, free, because there are other organizations that you can pay for that will do this. But through your tax dollars, Apex accelerators are the place to go. They have online classes, they have one-on-one counseling, etc. Just to learn what's going on in the space of government contracting. They are the place to go to do that information. And once again, it's free. There's one in Maryland, there's one in DC, and there's one in Northern Virginia. I will not talk about my preferences. But get connected with them if that's an area that you're interested in. You want to learn the basics before you sign up for 8A. You also want to subcontract if possible. Because then you're learning. Now, subcontracting can be hell because you're not in control. I don't say hell. It can be difficult. Just like all the other stuff, you want to make sure you pick the right partner, the right business, but you're not in control. So just like you go to work every day, or you went to college and school, you got to take the good with the bad. This is the environment, but you can learn. And the other reason that subcontracting is so valuable is that you are inside the building and people see you, right? You're not out there trying to be seen, right? Now you're in the building. Now the program office, who actually is the owner of the thing that you're doing, the service, right? They see you. When you spend extra hours and you do a little something extra on the side to help them out, when you're able to sit and talk with them about some new innovation that you're thinking about, you might get to craft the new requirement based on that conversation. You have access. That's why subcontracting is important. And what you want in 8A, and I'm back on 8A, but what you want in 8A is you want somebody checking on you and checking for you when you become an 8A. You want to be seen as a valuable player that just happens to have a tool that can help them get this contract process going. So many thoughts in my head right now, but this is the last thought on government contracting. And then I will do a quick litany of resources and how to get in touch with them. These certifications, and I spent a lot of time talking about them because I want you to understand them and what have you. But the most important thing that you should understand about government certifications, regardless of the level of government, county, federal, city, is they're not for you. They sound like they're for you, but they're not for you. They are for the government to shortcut, to provide ease for the government to let contracts through a process that is controlled by the government. It is allowing a government contractor, a contract officer, to say, I gotta get this on the street fast. Let me go pull this 8A, because I don't have 6 months to do all of this competition and this and the other. I can go pull this 8A if I find a number of 8As that are qualified. So it's not for you, it's for the government contractor. And like I said earlier about lending, and like I said about government contracting generally, you need to understand the language, but you also need to understand your place in that world. People put certifications on their things and whatever, and it makes sense because you're giving it to a contracting officer and you want them to know. But it's not what you think it is in a lot of cases. It is not a gold nugget for you. It really is the closing sale tool. I am brilliant, I am sophisticated, we have a past performance, we have an innovation that will set the world on fire. Oh, and by the way, you can just give this contract to me because I've already done the paperwork and I'm in it. Or I'm a women-owned small business. That's how you use it. You give them a tool to help them, and they then help you. But it's not yours. And so many people have that kind of, and it may seem like wordplay, but it will help you understand how to use it because you won't think, I got a golden ticket. No. You got something to give them that gives you a pass through. That's what it is. That being said, resource partners. The thing I think is the most important, SBA does the free counseling and mentoring. Some of you have magazines, only have so many of them. All of you should have the handouts. On that, you will see all of the resource partners, but there's an even easier way to do this. Go to sba.gov, click on the link. If you're on the website, it's at the top. If you're on your phone, it's the 3 dashes at the top of the page. You go to local assistance, you put your zip code in. It will give you the list of all the resource partners, the 5, 10, 20, 500 miles. So then you get to decide. Cheap Cash is, I would sign up for a women's business center. I'd sign up for an SBDC. I would sign up for VBOC if you're a veteran. I would sign up for SCORE. Make sure that you get the stuff from them. So you're gonna get their webinars, you're gonna get their place-based trainings. And then that is a passive way in which you begin to get information. So then you're gonna find out about, because we're talking about contracting, we haven't even talked about HR or accounting or real estate or any of the other things that go into business that you need to understand and learn, or at least once again, find out where the wheels are so that you're not out here in the hinterland trying to figure it out or up at night. So those are the places that they are constantly having, once again, webinars and free trainings on that information. So sign up form, you can pick the one across town from you, or you can pick the one next door. But sign up. SCORE is phenomenal. It is a phenomenal resource that is completely underutilized. These are retired C-suite executives and SCORE. C-suite executives and or retired business owners who are volunteering their time to help you. And you can have that mentor forever, as long as they still living and you're still interested. So it's not a one-stop. And I can't tell you the number of businesses that, and it can be some tough love because they're not playing. Like, they know their stuff. And so, the only thing I will say about that, and this will be my close, and this, I won't close on this because it's kind of negative, but I'll close on something. These resources, just like any other resources, are personality based. So if you go someplace and they assign you a mentor or a counselor and that doesn't work for you, find somebody else. You don't stop getting your teeth cleaned because the dentist that you had, was bad. You just go get another dentist. There are other mentors and there are other counselors. And I say that because I don't want you to stop. I want you to be resilient. And I don't want one bad conversation or one lost phone call to stop you from taking advantage of something that can literally change the course of your business and take you from, I'm not sure what I'm doing, to a sure-footed, this is my path. And so I say that with respect to all of these mentors and all of these, because these people are doing the work, but they may not be your cup of tea, right? So you find your cup of tea, and you drink that tea, and you refill that glass. With that, I will end, and thank you for allowing me to go 7 minutes more. But if I had my slides, see, I would have been on time. That's my bad, though. I actually didn't sit the right way. But it didn't have the right title on it. Thank you so much. I don't know if we have time for questions.
Yes, we do.
Then I am at your pleasure. I'm here till you guys put me out. Yes, sir.
Yes, I had the services sales,
Veteran certification.
right, and I was told a couple years after they're certified that I need to reapply. Now, is that true?
So I don't know enough about your specific circumstance.
Right.
Did you apply when the certification was MPI initially?
I'm not sure, though. It's been a while.
So let's do this. I'm gonna give you my card.
Okay.
You're gonna give me your information. You're gonna email me. We're gonna talk, and I'm gonna get you to the people in my agency that can answer your question and get you set up.
Okay, thank
Fair?
you. Great.
Absolutely. Any other questions?
Are these slides available?
Yes, and I'm actually gonna send the one that has BLE on it because I sent the wrong one in my rush. Sorry about that. Yes, ma'am. Yes, I'll send it to you, and they have your email address and contact information. Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, can you talk about the eligibility for the microloans? What are the requirements for that?
So each microloan intermediary has their own qualifications. That being said, SBA.gov, lending, all the information is there for you.
Gotcha.
Because I don't have it committed to memory, all committed to memory for each one of our programs. But yeah, SBA.gov, you can go to lending on SBA.gov, you can go to government contracting on SBA.gov, you can also go to counseling and mentoring on SBA.gov. And you can see if I lied about any of the things that I said. I just made it all up. Yes, sir. Yes, actually, one of the sheets that I just provided today is a new program. It's up to $5 million, and it is a pilot program. Now it's working capital. I think there's sheets. Yeah, she's pointing to it right here. I don't know if we had enough copies. We might have run out. Once again, you don't have to fight the paper, y'all. SBA.gov. and I promise you on the website it is the most up-to-date information. Just in case something changed last week and it didn't get to the sheet. SBA.gov lending, but they do have a new working capital. It's actually working capital for small businesses, both doing international and not doing international. And it's a pilot program, so they're testing out the arm length, how it feels. But But, my mind just went blank. Line of credit. Line of credit is a great non-loan way of doing business, right? Because you get the line of credit, but you don't have to use the entire line of credit. So if you need $10,000 of the $50,000 line of credit, then you're only on the hook for $10,000 versus getting $50,000, and then you're paying that loan back on the full amount if you use it or not, right? If you, as a business, you know, you might have to hire someone, something breaks or whatever. You need to have access to money, but you don't need to for all of it. So it's a very useful tool, particularly for government contractors, in any business, right? Because if you're growing and what have you. Yes, sir.
Given the
I'm
current.
scared. Yeah, sorry, questions.
I know you know the answer because it's
Okay.
stating related, right?
Yeah.
Given the current climate, right?
The climate.
Do you think the aiding program is going to be used by agencies?
Well, they're still using it. Last Friday, or.
Next question.
Yeah. Are you gonna do two? I'm just saying.
Yeah, just one out. And do you encourage anyone to pursue that program at this time?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So two things. One, everybody understands the elephant in the room. I don't need to point it out. You know what it is. That being said, we are still getting offer letters from agencies for 8A. I just signed, I didn't sign. I just got one in and had my team member work on one at 5 o'clock last Friday, $4.5 million for an 8A company that was leaving the 8A program that day. And which was so bad that we got it at 420, but that's when we got the letter from the agency, and we got it out because we wanted to make sure that the agency got what it needed, but that this company at least got that last bite of the apple. Unfortunately, I had a team member. Now, if she wasn't there, I probably would have called somebody on the West Coast because we have people that can do it all over. But it was, yes. So
They've been in the work before.
Huh?
Not they have been in the work before January 20.
They were already working with that agency.
Right. Yeah.
But let me be clear, some contracts are getting cut. That is just reality.
Yeah.
But we are still letting contracts in the 8A program, we're still doing contracts in the Woolsey program, we're still doing contracts for vets, and we're still doing contracts for women. When this administration started, of
Now, more
course,
specifically the 8A, well, our agencies still use the 8A certification.
Yes. Yes. Not all agencies, but not all did before. But yes, they still are. And until they stop, and until there is a public message out to the public saying that this program doesn't exist anymore, I would not tell not one company not to sign up for 8A because you need all of the help that you can get. Now, when that help becomes just, smoke and mirrors, then we can have another conversation. But as it stands right now, it's not smoke and mirrors. It is always, the 8A program has been sued since it began. It's like Obamacare, or Social Security, or any of these programs that sort of set aside or did something for a community. They have been challenged. The 8A program has been challenged by multiple lawsuits, by multiple things for many, many years. Since I started with the agency 15 years ago almost. It has been, how long is the 8A program going to be around? And it still has legs. And until it doesn't have legs, to answer your second question, yes, I would encourage someone to take advantage of that tool because it is a phenomenal tool that has helped a lot of small businesses blow up. So yes, any other questions? Yes, ma'am. And then you tell me when you called the last question. Yes, ma'am.
One more after you.
Okay, see? Because I will just stay here. I'll be here for 3. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much for your help and information. But I have this question. I know that you talked about for the American and primary kind of thing. So when businesses partner, should they just be in the same line of business or complementary, services that could come together to provide one service? What do you say?
That is a call that you should make based upon the circumstances and the contract and what you're doing. I don't know that there's a I don't know that there's one answer to that. It really depends on the circumstances, but that really is the lawyer in me. Because that's all we ever say is it depends. It depends on all the facts. So I'm not probably being a good salesperson for the SBA right now. But it really depends on what you're going after. Like, do you need to bolster what you already do by having more people and more experience? Or once again, you have one experience and they have another experience and you're coming together because that's what the contract, that's what the offering, that's what the agency is after. It really kind of depends.
So it depends.
Yeah.
It's not like
Yes.
it must be in the same field.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And some of those partnerships will be what's called a JV, which is a joint venture, which is you and maybe another large company, but you go in together, you form a new company, and that new company goes after contracts together. You have their benefit of experience and manpower and institutional knowledge and accounting departments and whatever, but they have your, AA or women owned or whatever, so they go after contracts that they would not normally be able to go after. Now, that gets kind of funky sometimes because if it's too small, then they're not really interested. So there has to be some sort of balancing there. There has to be a benefit for both parties in those arenas, but it really just depends. But that's what Apex Accelerator is for. That's what those other resource partners are for you to go and ask those really in-depth questions and then bring them an agreement or bring them an RFI or bring them something on the street and go, in this situation, what should I do? Because each one of them will be different. But I get the point of your question now. You're like, is there just one way to do this? There is not just one way to do it. It really does depend on the circumstances that you are encountering and how you want to approach a solution for that situation. Yes, ma'am. I think this is the last one, right?
No, it was him, and then he said it could have a last one, so that's why.
Okay, so you guys get to choose. Can we go both of them? Okay, so I'm gonna do you since you were chosen, and then I'm gonna come back to you. Okay. Yes.
I was just ask one question. So, as it relates to the certification of female, but I do work in the space that's dominated by women. Based on just what you've seen over your tenure over time there, what is the outcomes usually when male is competing, or black male is competing with those who are part of those certification programs?
I'm gonna give you my card because there's some complication in that question, and I want to talk to you about it. There's nuance there. I hear nuance, and once again, I don't know if there's an answer, but let's talk about what the nuances are, and I'll get you connected with the right folks that way. But we can do a half an hour. We can talk about the business and what you're after, and we can do that. Yes, ma'am.
I have a question about resources, like the Small Business Development Center, SBDC. Is it connected to SBA?
Yes.
So that's a place where entrepreneurs and small business owners could get resources as well.
Yes.
And mentorship.
Yes. Yes. So I'm going to expand my answer to you because I literally didn't get a chance to talk about it. So the resource partners on that list, you go and you put your zip code in, and these are called grantees. The SBA is a very small agency, so much of what we do is leveraging our relationships with others. So we don't give out money, but we leverage our relationship with lenders to make sure you get money. We are a very small agency, so we cannot fill out the contract needs, but we leverage and provide resources and certified businesses to all of our federal partners who have the money to do the government contracting. And then we scored them, which I didn't really get into. Women owned 5%, veteran owned, I believe it's 5%. AA went back down 5%, which was up to 12%. Of all federal dollars have to go to that. So the agencies are scored, which is also an incentive for them to give you those contracts. So it's not just, people are just out of goodness of their heart. They are actually scored and rated on how many of those certification programs they use. And some agencies have an appetite for one, others versus others. So some might love a hub zone, others may like 8A, etc. And so that's how that works. Small business development centers are grantees of the agency. That's the way we, as a small agency, get out there. Women business centers are a grantee of our agency. VBOX, Veteran Business Outreach Center, there's one in the Mid-Atlantic region. It's at Prince George's, University of Maryland, College Park. That's where the VBOC is, so if you're a veteran, that is a contact for you. And then SCORE. Apex Accelerators are not our grantees, but they work very closely with us. And they are also useful. So all 5 of those resource partners are free. The government has paid for those services, and you can go there and get counseling and mentoring, and go to webinars, and do all of their trainings. SBDCs, Howard has an SBDC, Bowie State has an SBDC, there's also an SBDC in downtown, there's also an SBDC at George Mason, and then a lot of them also do webinar training. You can sign up, get the information in the web, but you can also do webinar training because obviously people are busy, small businesses don't always have time to go to the spot, and the trainers and the counselors don't necessarily sit in those offices. So that's the way in which you can do that. They also have an SBDC at University of Maryland. They have a location there that has SBDC as well. Once again, if you don't get what you need, go to another one, and if that doesn't work, that's what I'm for. My information is all over the place. You know how to get in touch with my office. That's my job. My job is to do this, but my job is also to get stuff out of the way, answer questions, connect. So if you are calling, if you are going and you're not getting the assistance, I can't help you if I don't know what's happening. Once again, closed mouths don't get fed. So if there's an issue, please let me know, and I will work on it. Now, sometimes it's timing. So if it's the 11th hour and you need counseling on the contract that you got to sign tomorrow, but if it's, I've been trying to get in for 3 months and nobody's answering my call, let me know. And my first thing is going to be, A, to call them, but my first thing is going to get someone to help you, period. Either someone in the agency or someone from a different office. And then I'll deal with them, because they don't actually work for me. They work for one of the offices in my agency, but I know who to call. So, and that's for everybody around the table. Thank you guys so much for listening. Hopefully this is helpful.
Let's give them another hand. I can speak, I'm the poster boy for so many things, but I can speak on how government contracting was transformative in my career. I worked at the sub-market. I didn't spend a lot of time talking about that. I worked on 3 subcontractors, the FAA, Department of Labor, and the Small Business Administration as a subcontractor. That's another market that's really lucrative. That's paperwork, but the pay is great. Am I right? All right. Thank you again. And I want to introduce you to somebody. I'm looking at this resource. I'm looking at the things that have happened here today. And this has all been made possible by the person I'm going to bring up next, Ms. Bernadette. She is the owner of BLE Executive Suites, which has the hub zone over in College Park. Also have a location over in National Harbor, and right here in Largo, the central location. She's also a certified tax specialist, and she is a walking resource. You need to get to know this young lady. I'm not going to sit here and talk a lot about her because many people already know her. Her work speaks for her, but I would like her to come before you today, and let me put your hands together with Ms. Bernadette.
Thank you all. What I'd like to say, thank you, Mr. Brennan, for a great presentation, lots of good information. I'm really thankful that you were able to take the time to share this information with us. And I'd like to thank each of you for being here to here. Every first Friday of the month, we get together and bring people who can help us, who can support us, who can help build our businesses. It's all about support and building a community. And with that said, we also meet every Thursday morning. For those people who are early morning people, we meet on Zoom. And I am very much into believing, well, I believe we speak things into existence. And as business owners, I think that's an important component to building business, because I know what it's like to start a business from zero. It takes more than work. It takes a mindset that you can believe that you can. You too can do it. You too can build something. Although you may not have had any mentors or family members that were in business before. Your belief, your strong desire to build a business makes it possible. And that's what I do believe. So I call it building that faith muscle. And as I said before, we meet on Thursday mornings at 7:30. If you're interested in participating, it's some like-minded individuals. We get together, and I've seen growth. I've seen people take steps when they had no idea. We were told a couple of weeks ago that the therapist, she was still an employee. And after joining our group, she's now doing her own thing. She has her own business and is successful. So it takes that mindset, and sometimes it just takes a little push to get you there. So if you're interested in joining the group on Thursday mornings, please see him in the back, and please leave your email address. We send a link, a Zoom link, and it is free. There's absolutely no cost, just your time. It's from 7:30 to 9 every Thursday morning. Again, I'd like to thank you all, and especially Mr. Gatewood, who's always here to support and be a partner in this first Friday event. So I think what we'll do right now is go around the room.
Yes,
So
indeed.
Mr. Gatewood, back up.
Let's give them a clap of hands. I've been so honored to be partnered with Mr. Clay. Tell me, folks, there's something magical about being around the right people. And so I see magic happening in this room as we speak. So what I'm going to do, for the sake of time, I'm going to give you a chance to introduce yourself. Normally we give you a minute or so to talk a little bit about yourself, but today, for the sake of time, you give us your company, your name and your company, and maybe take about 10 seconds, and then we're going to keep going, because we want to get you out of here while the sun is still up. I'm going to start right here on the front row. Sir.
My name is Lawrence Jones, quick and sweet. I own a private practice for counseling. I'm a legacy builder. I work with fatherless fathers, hoping to build legacy as well as live a life of grace as well as in purpose.
All right. My name is Gerald Brown. People walk down your basement, something like that, and find water on the floor. The college gets you to pay the salt pump, or it might be a water heater on bad. I'm president and CEO of Maternity Plumbing, and we do residential and commercial plumbing service.
Back here in the corner.
Myself, Atty Larry. I'm just entrepreneur. My company name is Generation G LLC.
How you about this group?
I'm trying to do something like innovative something.
Okay. Thank you very much. Right here.
Hey everybody, my name is Mikhail Khan. I own and operate a marketing and web design agency. We focus on creating sales funnels for our clients and building that while using their website as their foundation to direct sales and bring in more revenue.
Thank you very much. And also, if you're here for the first time, please let us know how you heard about it, were you invited by somebody, let us know, so we can keep this snowball building, keep the momentum going. Right here, sir.
Thank you. My name is Michael Lopez. Actually,
Actually, we're here on the fourth floor with Ms. Clay for a number of years.
Many years,
Yes, our business is in government contracting. We're into information technology, program management, and also in security services with BLE.
Can I say something about his business? His business, he and his wife's business are the Maryland Small Business for People of the Year for Maryland for Small Business.
I'm sorry, I got out of order. Hang on right here. I'm gonna start back. I wanna go through this and even come back up here, okay? Right here.
My name is Carol Anderson, and I am health and wellness.
Hi, I'm Janine Diggins. I'm an AI certified trainer and consultant. My company stands on Digital Media Group. I basically help you get AI literacy and implement in your business.
Ooh, I like it. Right here.
I'm Carmen Booker. I'm an attorney and a business and nonprofit consultant. I have my own business consulting firm, so I establish businesses, write contracts, estate planning, and I can protect your business name and logo through trademarks.
You good, I use it. All right, go ahead.
Good afternoon, my name is John James. My company is Gen Wealth Matters, do financial planning, wealth management, and this week helping people get off the ledge. Market is this week, so
All we need is brother.
good to be here. Haven't been here in a while, and we've grown a lot since the last.
Hey, John goes way back, many years since we've been doing the first Friday. Thank you, John.
Hi, I'm Karen Braxton. Great to be here, my first time, invited by Ms. Angela there.
All right.
And I am a government contractor, so struggling with many of you here, what's happening next. Doing work with the Department of Education and HHS, and in a number of capacities, evaluation, technical assistance, and such. But good to be here and get to know you all and what's happening at the SBA. Thank you. And I will echo the sentiments of SCORE. Such amazing resources there. So hopefully everyone checks it out.
Congratulations on your contract.
Hi everyone, I'm Lizita Weaver, and I'm from Prince George's Community Federal Credit Union, and we actually offer products and solutions and services to help small businesses and also for personal accounts as well. And so we're the credit union of the county, but also I initially came here representing the credit union, and I get very emotional when I think of Ms. Bernadette Clay, as you guys, some of you may know, because I came here representing the credit union, but she helped recharge that entrepreneurship spirit in me. And so now, I started my new local cable show called VIP in the DMV, in which I had the opportunity to interview Ms. Bernadette Clay. And this year, she said, well, Lizita, what are your plans to thrive in 2025? And so my show is on CTV, it'll be on Bowie Station as well. And now I have celebrities reaching out to me to be on my cable show. So I'm going to thank you for recharging that spirit in me. I'm only 60 years old, and it's not too late at any age to still pursue your goals and your dreams and build that faith muscle to do it. And so I'm just very, very thankful in so many ways. And thank you for everything.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Hi everyone, happy Friday. My name is Dr. Mildred Charles. I am a board certified coach. I do one-on-one coaching, group coaching for women, and I love creating content.
Love it, right here.
Hi, happy Friday everyone. My name is Taz Barnes-Sarter. I am the founder and CEO of Lighthouse Therapeutic Services. I am a licensed therapist. We're actually based here in Atlanta, Maryland. It's a mental health group practice. We're in the process of becoming an outpatient clinic here, and we have about 19 individuals on staff who are licensed clinicians. We also have partnerships with universities here in the DMV area, which we have interns as associate counselors. And so today is my first time visiting as a visitor. First Friday is Angela Morton, my mother, invited me, and so I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, sir.
My name is Robert Thompson, and I'm the president and CEO of Tech Consulting. We are a data science and advanced statistics organization, and we do work with the federal government
Department of Ed. We're going through the same process that you're going through, right? OPM and couple of agencies.
Thank you, congratulations.
Good afternoon, my name is Sabrina Skeeter. This is my first time here. I heard about the class from taking it with Mr. Gatewood at the PGCC. I just formed my LLC, it's SRS 7 Properties. My focus is real estate, property management. I'm actually obtaining my real estate license.
Thank you. I'm so glad to see my students coming out and get this information for you. That warms my heart. Right.
My name is, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
My name is Larry G. I'm a financial educator, and we provide financial services, especially providing education. More than ever before, education is missing.
Thank you very much.
Well, I'm Philip Lester. I'm a financial advisor and educator. So I curate financial literacy programs for a lot of different government agencies, universities, schools, and all of to work with you. We recently started a program with a friend down in Toledo, Ohio. I don't know if you know this James Saunders. So we curate a program to help educate business owners how they can not just manage money that they make, how they grow it and also preserve it. And also I teach them how business can be built a legacy of a strategy they can put in place. So I'll really love to work with you.
Thank you so much. Networking going on here too.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Charlene Dugal, and my business is Math Technology, and I create small custom solutions for small businesses.
Thank you so much.
Hi everybody, I'm Travis Jones. I am a business owner. I just started a clothing line with my son, who's 3 years old. We wanted to develop a legacy for him as well, so that's why we named it after him, called Nelden Alfari. But by trade, I am a music producer and audio engineer. So that's pretty much what my niche is, but just being in business, it helped me transition into doing like hosting events, and then doing partnerships with a lot of different business owners and stuff like that. So now I run we have like a business festival, so I would love to be able to get everyone information so that way we can invite you all come out, and as well as speak and things of that nature for a business event as well. Thank you guys.
Network, my brother, network. It's right here.
Hi, I am Coach Diamondra, and I work with leaders who are navigating uncertainty in 3 main areas, whether that's in business. You know you need to have an online presence, but you're not really sure how to build that authentically. In life, going through losing jobs, empty nesters are a big one. The kids leave and it's like, who am I, what do I do? And the last one is the biggest one, I feel, is parenting, the biggest uncertainty, because it oftentimes requires that we do a lot of reparenting of some generational things that we have learned about ourselves, and so I help navigate that uncertainty with yourself as a
Hello everyone, Dr. Tanya Robertson. My business is Focus Training Solutions, so we support business owners in the space of employee onboarding. So if you need structure, when you're hiring your first employee or your 50th employee, or you're not hiring at all and you know you need to just kind of shore up your employee onboarding processes, I'm your person.
All right, our next person is Mr. Ron Henderson. He's been with us, one of our foundational, he's the OG of networking. All right, so we're gonna give him a little bit of grace today. He has something special for Mr. Clay.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gatewood, and I'll do this in honor for Ms. Bernadette Clay. I am Ron Henderson. I am AKA the vocalizer. I do narrations and also speak publicly. And as I find my voice, I help others to find theirs at the echo of the beat. It's never too old, never too late. So let's remember back in the past when we had WL, the radio station. You remember that? Of course. WL, and of course you remember the Dells when they sang, "Stay in my corner." Okay, wrong. That's no, but really though, when they did that, they were playing that song on a Saturday afternoon. And the song was going and we could get into the groove in that time. But the thing was that it got to the point where it went, woo, 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 woo. Bobby Glitter rushed back to the mic and said, man can't even go to the bathroom anymore. Hey, wait a minute, is anybody in here? Come on now. Robert, explain to them what happened and the man says a long song and he thought he could go to the bathroom and then the record caught and the needle got, oh, some of y'all don't know what all right, well, that's what,
Thank you, LinkedIn, you can hear practically every first Friday because of somebody you want in your corner. Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
My name is Gorman Jerry, my company MRS Tax. We offer software to clients over the country with the tax preparation. And then we have another brand for tax preparation. We have 3 offices here in this area. But Robert, I want to expand this here between you and Mr. Webb. I want to take this software to get contracts for fire and the military. So I need some contracting connections to get that contract. 2 of my software companies, customers are here, Angela and Miss Simon over there. So they are my software company partners. So thank you all.
The reason Thorman is treating me now, I've been working with Thorman now for almost 25 years. When he was knee-high to equipment, when he was knee-high to equipment, he's been at it for a while. And glad to be working with him. And
I had hair.
He had hair back then. But the power of relationships and partnerships, I could step here to tomorrow and I cannot emphasize it enough. Make these relationships, make these partnerships, they work.
Oh, got to make some Maxwell, I'm sorry.
Yes, indeed.
Hello, happy Friday, everyone. My name is Sophia Goodrich. I'm a broker owner of Goodrich Real Estate, the new brokerage in Georges County. And I'm here to help anyone who's looking to purchase or even sell residential or commercial property.
All right, we need you.
Hi, my name is Hansina Edwards. My company's name is Sweet Professional Services LLC. It's an insurance consulting business management company. This is my first time here.